guys to ask your questions, and we will see what happens. Hey, everybody. How you doing? Kind of a last-minute show here on Spreecast on Periscope. But Sue, always good to see you. I can't wait till we see each other again. Next time, dinner and drinks. Adam, can't wait to touch base with you in Texas. We're going to have a great time together and teach all those guys how to have a good time. But listen, here's the deal. My name's Mitch Jackson, firm's Jackson & Wilson. What I want to do this afternoon is share 30 years of approaches and tips, consolidate them down into 5 easy steps to help you easily close your next deal. The reason I decided to do this Periscope, and we've got a Periscope going right here, everybody. Check this out. Okay. And then we're also running live simultaneously on Spreecast. Hey, thanks for the hearts. I appreciate it. The more hearts, the better. Is because I've watched so many great people, smart people with awesome products and awesome services shoot themselves in the feet and fail to close a deal because of their inability to sell their vision, because of their inability to share their vision with their audience. Things don't happen. Deals don't get done. Everything's left on the table. And it's really a shame when this happens because you can really break down an effective presentation into 5 easy steps. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to do this in less than 15 minutes. We're going to be in and out. If you guys have questions, ask them on Periscope. I'll try to respond. If you have questions on Spreecast, ask them over in the chat. If you want to click on and join me live, that's great too. The only caveat is I've got some very sharp individuals here, Sue and Adam. Patricia, don't stump me with any killer questions, okay? So here's the deal. Break down your presentation in a way that is easy for your audience, easy for the other person to digest and understand. And the very first thing you need to do when making a sales pitch, when making a presentation, when I'm trying a case in court, is you need to properly frame the problem or the issue. Okay, when I'm in court trying a big damages case, the last thing I want to do is frame this case, and most lawyers make this mistake. They make the whole case about money damages. They make the whole case about how much money a jury, if they follow the law and they follow the judge's instructions, the jury is going to be required to award my client X amount of dollars. And usually there are a lot of zeros behind those numbers. And that's not what you want to do. What I do in court when I'm trying to frame the problem, you want to state the problem. That's the first step. And with the jury, I don't talk about money damages. What I talk about is fixing a wrong, okay? Fixing a harm, holding a wrongdoer accountable, making sure that somebody doesn't get away with putting profits over people. So in court, I frame the initial issue as being one where the jury is empowered to fix a problem, to solve a solution. In business, and over lunch today, and I was mentioning to Adam during a chat before the show, and let me show this to everybody. In this month's Inc. magazine, there is a great article about a solar power company. And the example I want to use is about this particular company and about how they figured out how to properly deal with step number 1, how to properly state the problem to a customer. When they first got started, and by the way, let me see if I've got notes here. This is American Solar Direct. Their 3-year growth was over 11,000%. Their revenues for 2013, once they figured things out, was 52.1 million. They've got 436 employees. And I think the article in Inc. magazine this month in the June edition, it's powerful as to these issues. When they first started their company and went out for sales, much like inexperienced trial lawyers talking to jurors about it being all about money, and that's the last thing you want to do, what these guys were doing and what the owner of the company, his name's Brennan McCulley, what they thought the problem was is they were going to help consumers help the environment, okay? They were trying to focus on environmental solutions to help make the environment a better place, and they were counting on consumers to see their vision because that's why they got into the company. That's why they started the company, to buy into their vision and buy their products. And not a whole lot happened. Once they were able to reset and state the problem, the issue correctly, that's when things took off. And what the issue was for this particular company, it wasn't about solar power. It wasn't about clean and renewable energy. What it was, and I'm sure you can guess, is it was about saving the customer money. Okay, the issue, the problem was their customers, their potential customers, were spending too much money each and every month on utilities, paying money into a system where the rates keep increasing because of supply and demand. The annual amount these consumers were paying each month was not going down, it's going up exponentially. And so once they focused on the problem that they're addressing with their potential consumers was actually the high rate of utilities, and their product may provide the ability to bring that cost down on a monthly and annual basis, that's where things started to snap. So what you want to think about first, and thanks for the hearts, I really appreciate that. It's funny, my daughter the other night asked me, Dad, how come you don't have more hearts? Well, it is what it is. So the first thing you want to do is frame the problem correctly. Understand what the problem is and frame it correctly, okay? Once you've done that, then you need to agitate or emphasize the problem. That's number two. When I'm in court and I talk about the problem is the other side's not being responsible. They're not stepping up to the plate, okay? Step number two is I'll agitate that problem. I'll talk about what can happen if we allow companies, if we allow people to conduct themselves this way. It's not okay for people to drink, drive, and run red lights and cause tragedy to families just like mine. That's not okay. And we talk about how big of a problem this is. Distracted driving, companies putting out unsafe products. We agitate the problem and talk to our jurors about this problem during the process of the case. With respect to the solar company, step number two, after stating the problem, step number two is agitating or emphasizing the problem. What they need to do is talk about, listen, utility rates are going up. They're not going down. If you don't take steps to correct the situation, it's only going to get worse. It's not going to get better. Let me show you some documentation. Let me show you some research that will show you how electricity rates are going to be going up, how as your house gets older and the utilities become less effective and efficient, the rates are going to go up, et cetera, et cetera. You can agitate the problem, and really what you're doing is you're educating the consumer, okay? You're sharing valuable information with them in a way that shows them that there's a real issue here that needs to be solved. So that's number two. By the way, on Periscope, if you guys have questions, I'm looking up at Spreecast. I'll try to catch them. If you go to Spreecast.com, you'll see my show, and you can ask questions there or on the other platforms that we have opened up. Number three, what I want you to do is after you've stated the correct problem, number two, after you agitate or emphasize that problem, number three, you then need to state a clear and concise solution. Okay, that's step number three. You're educating, you're not selling. You're informing, you're not selling. So in the case of a jury trial under the scenario that we've been talking about, step number three is I'll talk about if we present the evidence, if the facts are as I promise you they will be, then you will have an opportunity as a jury to step up and hold this company accountable, hold this person accountable, and you'll be in a situation where your decision will result in my client's medical bills being reimbursed. Your decision will result in my client being compensated for the pain and suffering that he and his family have been through because of this knucklehead's wrongful conduct. Okay, do you see how I'm doing that? That's step number three, is offering a clear and concise solution. By having the power to award money damages and following the judge's instructions, you can fix this problem. With respect to the solar company that we're talking about, and for those of you just joining us, what we're talking about is 5 easy steps to close big deals. I'm talking about an example in this month's Inc. magazine with respect to a solar power company called American Solar Direct. It's a really interesting article. But step number three is their representatives can now talk with the homeowners, sit down over the kitchen table and talk about what their solutions are. Listen, if you purchase these types of panels, then and implement them like we ask you to do, then we can save you over the course of a month, or save you annually every 12 months or each year X amount of dollars. Okay. One of the things that American Solar does, which is kind of cool, is thanks for the hearts, really appreciate it, is they actually call the homeowner and ask for permission to do a Google Maps type of screenshot of the home, so that they can then superimpose on top or around that property the solar panels, and it gets the dialogue going. And so step number 3, when you're offering a clear and concise solution, whatever your product or service is, make sure at that point in time you can come in and, using real life examples, using specifics, using hard data, using research, you can show the person you're talking to. With me, it's a jury of 12. With you, it may be a husband and wife over a kitchen table. It may be a room full of 1,000 software programmers that are going to be lobbying you to help design and develop your apps, whatever it might be. But you need to set forth a clear and concise solution to solve the problem that you raised in number 1 and that you agitated in number 2. Number 4, at this point, and this is critically important, you need to state, emphasize, show, display all of the benefits of your solution to the consumer. As all of you know or should know, it's not about you, it's always about your audience. It's always about your customer. It's always about your client. So you want to think about this approach. Once it's all said and done and you get to step number 4, what are the benefits to the client? And in the case of a jury trial, the benefits to a jury is that they will be stepping up, they'll be following the law, they'll be doing the right thing, they'll be holding a very bad person or a very bad company accountable. That might be one example. Another example where it's simply a mistake that somebody made, they didn't intentionally try to hurt someone else. If you set it up correctly, you can empower your jury to feel very, very good about being the 12 people that can go back home at the end of the day, at the end of the week after trial, and look their neighbors in the eye and talk to them and be able to explain why they were able to apply the law that was given to them by the judge to the facts of this particular case and follow the law and do the right thing. It's all about doing the right thing. Outside of court, as an example with step number 4 with the solar power company, what they can do is, when you talk about benefits to the customer, you then show them how much money they're saving each year by utilizing your solar panels. Those are hard dollars and cents. You can show the customer spreadsheets about how much money they're saving. At this point, you can backdoor those savings with all the environmental benefits, which is the reason these guys opened up this company in the first place. So now they're empowering the customer, showing them how much money they're saving, how much better the environment will be because of the steps that they're taking, and if everyone else follows their example, the steps that everyone can take to make the environment a better place. So that's a very, very powerful step. It's an important step that you need to follow. Number 5 is, once you've done all the above, and by the way, this is where most people screw up. Most people start with number 5, directly or indirectly, and I think you can probably guess what number 5 is. But when you get to number 5, you need to ask for the sale. You need to close the deal. In trial, it's closing argument. In trial, when it's all said and done, in the closing argument is where you step up and you remind them of steps 1 through 4. You go through the evidence, you go through the facts, and when it's all said and done, you get down to step number 5 and you ask for exactly what you believe your client is entitled to. You ask for exactly what the other side, the defendant, is responsible for paying under the law. In business, with the solar panel example, once it's all said and done, you're in a situation where you want to step up and you want to ask for the sale. You've gone through steps 1 through 4, and now it's time to close the deal. And if you go through steps 1 and 4 correctly, step 5 is a piece of cake. It's usually accompanied by a cup of coffee and a slice of pie. It's not hard to get through step 5. Be organized when you get to step 5. We use pre-printed huge jury verdict forms. I actually walk through and fill out the form exactly as I want my jurors to do so back in the jury deliberation room. Leave nothing to chance. In sales, in private business, when you're out there and if you're using documents, have those documents filled out and ready to go. Have those documents complete, corresponding exactly to the representations that you made. You don't want any secrets. And slide them across the table and get a signature. You want to get everything done by the time you get to step number 5. When I give a closing argument, I don't wait a day or two or a week before I stand up and give that closing argument. I want to give my closing argument quickly after all the evidence has been presented while everything's fresh in my jurors' minds. You need to do the same thing when you get to step number 5, and that will help you close the deal. One thing I wanted to bring up today is I got an amazing newsletter today from a friend of mine, and her name is Ann Miller. And Sue, I don't know, Sue and Adam, I don't know if you guys know Ann, but she is the metaphor queen. She is an expert when it comes to crafting metaphors, for private clients, for companies, for authors, whatever it might be. I've used Ann in trial, and she helped me craft a metaphor that I used in my closing argument that literally, in my opinion, resulted in a 7-figure verdict. And Ann Miller's website is annmiller.com. That's ANNEMILLER. Make sure you guys go to Ann's website, subscribe to her email newsletter, check out her resources. She does an amazing job at putting together very powerful metaphors. She's also an accomplished author, speaker, and consultant. And when I got her email today, I just thought to myself, I need to give Ann a shout out. That's how good her stuff is. So listen, if you guys liked today's communication tip, if you liked today's Periscope and Spreecast, share it with your friends, share it with anybody who you think may benefit from it. I've got other communication tips at mitchjackson.com. And each day what I'm trying to do is roll over to Meerkat, share a news update about a breaking legal issue. I'm trying to share communication tips on Spreecast and Periscope. And when it's all said and done, I'm always here for you guys. If you have any questions, if you have any challenges, you're not able to close a deal and you want to bounce something off somebody, reach out to me. I'm on Twitter. It's at Mitch Jackson. And it's always a pleasure. I really dig doing this stuff, so it's never an imposition. Real quick, awesome article today by Jason Fried, who has been on my show. Let me just show it to you. In Ink magazine. This is for Periscope. And that's for Spreecast. And it's called Lighting the Way. It's a very good article about making sure your employees and really anybody else you're interacting with understands your wide view of the game plan, of the company goals that you're putting together. I had an interview with Jason not too long ago at human.social. If you go to human.social and put his name, just put Jason Fried into the search box, you'll find our interview. He's a fascinating guy. He's doing amazing things at Basecamp. And follow him on Instagram too. He posts some really cool pics of cars and watches and some other things. So that's it for everybody. Adam, Sue, Patricia, thanks for stopping by. You guys really appreciate it. And let's all stay in touch. And before I wrap things up, hashtag MY, make today your masterpiece. MYYMTYM. Make today your masterpiece. That's what I'm asking you to do. It's been a long day. Bear with me. You guys take care, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. For those of you on